Tina Foster, who's the attorney representing Dr. Siddiqui in the United States. Our goal is real simple. We want to free Aafia. And that's what we heard coming in from the airport, repeated over and over by an unbelievable mass of people. I've been in politics a long time. I've not seen this kind of an outpouring so strong and so spontaneous. And it's the people out there that are protesting in Aafia's behalf that will free Aafia. Those of us in leadership roles can contribute, but what makes it happen, which is what made the release of Mandela happen, was the fact that the people took to the streets worldwide. We've seen examples of people protesting in Ireland, South Africa. This is not an issue just for Pakistan, but it's an issue for injustice to be overcome worldwide. And there is a great deal of injustice going on. Most particularly, I would say this, from my regard, we see a great deal of injustice, but when we are specifically informed about the injustice of a single person, and we have the knowledge of it, it is immoral not to step forward and to work to correct that injustice. And that's what we're trying to do here. Having said that, maybe Tina would want to add something, or maybe Dr. Fazia would want to add, but we'd be happy to then take some questions after you're done. Tina.
Thanks, everyone. I think the main purpose, as the Senator said, we're here for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to free Aafia and to bring her back to her home, which is Pakistan. I have met with Aafia several times in prison in Texas, and she is longing to come back. She thanks everyone for their support and all of your wishes, and all of the outpouring has really touched her heart, and she is really grateful for that. That being said, I am at a loss as to what to tell my client about what the Pakistani government is doing for her. We have heard promises, and we're here to follow up to find out what the plan is to bring Dr. Aafia home.
And in that regard, we'll be meeting with a number of officials, and not only to get their advice as to how to push the Pakistani government to request of the United States formally for the repatriation of Dr. Siddiqui, but we'll be open to their suggestions of what more we can do to bring that about. Dr. Fazio, would you?
I'll just say a few words, just repeat that in Urdu. Senator Mike Gravel saying that his purpose for coming to Pakistan आने का मकसद आफिया की रिहाई है, और दूसरी चीज़ जो है वो ये कि गवर्नमेंट ने जो वादे किए हैं उनका वो किस तरह से गवर्नमेंट ने जो वादे किए हैं, जो प्रॉमिसेस, वो कहाँ तक आगे गए हैं और क्या पेशरफ्त हुई है। अभी जो वादे मिस्टर क्लार्क के साथ हुए थे, रमजी क्लार्क के साथ, उसका आगे क्या पेशरफ्त हुई है, और उसी सिलसिले में ये इंशाल्लाह इस्लामाबाद और लाहौर में सबसे मिलेंगे भी, और उसमें कोशिश रहेंगे, और जो मुख्तलिफ चीज़ें हैं जिससे कि आफिया आ सकती है उस पर डिस्कशंस होंगे। आप लोगों का मैं बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करती हूँ, क्योंकि आप ही लोग हैं जो हमारी गवर्नमेंट से ये सवाल कर सकते हैं कि देखें वहाँ से लोग आ रहे हैं तो आप यहाँ पे क्या कर रहे हैं। ये तो एक बहुत उसकी बात है, पासवा मिल गए काबे को सनम खाने से, और फिर भी जो है काबे के रखवाले जो है वो खामोश।
Yes, please, speak up.
Mike and Tina, what America wants and why America not release Aafia?
So repeat that, please.
what America wants
Well, first off,
and why
you,
America not release Aafia?
you have to understand, America is an empire. And it's the self-appointed policeman of the world. And as an empire, there's a great deal of corruption that goes with that. And when we had the panic after 9/11, and that's what it was a panic with a president who did not do a good job and declared this war on terror. Well, there's no such a thing as having a war on terror. Terror has been with civilization from the beginning, and it will probably be with civilization at the end. And so in this panic and in this terror, a lot of injustices were done. And Aafia is just one example of this terrible injustice done by the United States of America, the American government. This injustice of pulling a person who was kidnapped from Pakistan, mind you, with the help of some people within Pakistan, and was held in a rendition prison for 5 years, and then was brought to trial in New York. And mind you, the trial was not over acts of terrorism. They had no evidence that she was doing anything at all in terrorism. They had a phony setup where she was supposedly endangered the life of some American soldiers. Well, let me tell you where that took place. That was in a room of 300 square feet. That room was smaller than this enclave here, half as much. And there were 6 grown men and a 90-pound woman, little woman. And she is charged with picking up a rifle and trying to kill somebody. Well, the only person that almost died in that encounter was Aafia, who was shot twice. And so the whole situation reeks of dishonesty and perjury by people in the American government and in our intelligence institutions, and to some degree abetted by the intelligence institution of Pakistan. I hope to meet with the head of the ISI and to plead with them that they have to rectify their record, and that is to put their shoulder behind the movement to free Aafia and to get politicians to act on it. Right now what we have is a situation where all the politicians buy into it because it's popular with the people. Well, I can tell you, that is typical politician. Talk and do nothing. And so what we hope to make accountable is for some of the leaders who will be morally responsible, that they will step forward and really push to bring Aafia home. That means that they have to ask the United States. If they will ask the United States, then we can, on our side, in the United States, ask Obama to pardon Aafia. That this great injustice has to be corrected in the United States as it has to be corrected also in Pakistan.
Mike, on Aafia case, it is right that the American judiciary is the hostage of American government. On Aafia case.
Well, yes is the answer to your question. It is. And it's not only hostage, the Justice Department hostage to the American government, it's hostage to the American intelligence agencies, it's hostage to the CIA. In fact, I hope it's not news to you that our country is owned lock, stock, and barrel by the military-industrial complex. And that's what sustains our whole empire. And you see it here in Pakistan. You're the victims of these drone attacks. Probably for every terrorist that they kill 9, 10 innocent civilians. Well, you know what the answer to that problem is? If the United States would get the hell out of Afghanistan, there's no reason to attack anybody in Pakistan. Just that simple.
Tina, you met many times Aafia in different places. What is the condition of Aafia now?
So she's,
Tell them the last time we met and after which the big gap there was without a meeting.
well, I did have meetings with Aafia, but after my last meeting with her, there's been a long time in between the last time I saw her and now. And the reason for that is the prison authorities have made it almost impossible for her to meet with me. She was provided lawyers at her trial and for her appeal who she did not want. She did not accept them because they were paid for by the Pakistani government and the American government, and she did not want those lawyers. She wanted to choose her own lawyer. And after I met with Aafia 2 times in the prison, and she appointed me as her chosen lawyer, the prison stopped facilitating those visits by making it so difficult for Aafia to meet with me that it was extremely painful for her, either with strip searching or harassment or taking away her reading materials, desecrating her Quran. These are things that happened after I met with her. My report to you, unfortunately, is not complete. When I saw her, there were obviously signs of physical abuse and mental and emotional abuse. I believe that she's still strong, she's still Aafia, she's still kind-hearted despite everything that she's gone through. She's caring to the other prisoners. She's always looking for to help somebody else and not herself. She's extremely glad and thankful to all of the people in Pakistan for all of the support that they've given her, and she hasn't lost hope. But I have to say that I think she's losing hope in the Pakistani government because there has been no visits by anyone in the Pakistani government to her for a long time. She feels forgotten in prison. No even representative, not even a low-level person from the embassy has met with her in many, many months, and they're not doing anything to help her. So she's losing hope that anybody in Pakistan still cares. And so what we're trying to do is show her that there are people that care, that there's millions of people that have come to the streets, and she's willing to keep fighting. But I'm asking, what is the Pakistani government doing for her? And that's what I would like to take back when I go back and when I meet with her next. I would like to be able to tell her, yes, there is a leader in Pakistan. There is at least one leader that is willing to stand up and say to the United States government, we are not going to cooperate with you in this illegitimate war on terror until you start treating our citizens with the same respect as every other citizens of every nation, every civilized nation deserves. So I can tell you that despite the horrible treatment, and she's still suffering, as I said, from the torture and abuse that she suffered for 5 years in secret prisons. We know that if she's brought back to Pakistan, then she can begin to rebuild her life and begin to be rehabilitated. She needs to be repatriated to Pakistan. She cannot get medical treatment there. She does not trust the doctors and the nurses. They're part of the prison establishment. We have asked for independent doctors and nurses to go in to evaluate her, to give you a professional opinion. The answer to your question is she hasn't had a doctor evaluate her because they won't allow us to bring in an independent doctor. So, unfortunately, I would have to say that you don't have full information, and even I, as her attorney who she's chosen, doesn't have full information about her condition.
One question from you. Yes. One question I want to ask regarding the solution of the Aafia. What you feel, first of all, one legal fight is more valuable, or the diplomatic or other thing? One question. Second question is enough the Pakistan government what they have done. Either you satisfied or not. Other than Pakistan, any other country? Any other country can also be the influence and resolvable for this problem. Support.
Yeah, I think your main question is this a legal problem or is this a diplomatic problem? And I will tell you that having sat through every day of her trial in the United States, that she did not receive justice in the United States. She will never receive justice in the United States. The only way that Dr. Siddiqui is going to come home is through diplomatic means. And we need to see that avenue pursued, which it really hasn't been.
And beyond diplomatic means what you see with the protest of the people themselves that will pressure the diplomatic effort to take place. Thus far, there has been no diplomatic effort made by Pakistan or even countenanced by the United States. And so what we need to do is to initiate something, somebody in government, in Pakistan and in the United States has to respond to this injustice. Any other questions? Yes, this gentleman.
Whatever you have done till now and whatever you are doing. I just want to ask, how do you see the whole scenario and what do you think, is there any hope for Aafia?
And what? Yeah, there is. There's a great deal of hope. I am familiar with the details of her case. Tina has kept me informed. And when I came from the airport and saw the reaction of the people in the street, I know from my knowledge of politics, that's what makes things happen. It's not going to be the leadership. It's going to... Politicians have a great knack. They put their finger in the air to see which way the wind's blowing or which way the crowd is going, and they run to the head of the crowd because they can't be leaders unless they find out where the crowd is going. Well, the crowd in Pakistan, the people of Pakistan, are speaking very loudly on this subject and worldwide. And that's one of the things that I can do, is to bring Hillary Clinton's attention to this fact, and to President Obama, who's in a re-election campaign. You get more response from politicians when they're running for office. And now's the chance that we may have with Obama and Clinton on the American side. And of course, you've got an election coming up next year. And hopefully, we can make this issue of free Aafia a issue in the campaign, so that anybody securing the premiership will be committed to forcefully demand her repatriation. That's what has to happen next year. It has to become a political issue in the campaign, and all the politicians have to step forward and pledge that they will use their position, if elected to office, to bring her home.
What is the emotion
For that, we also need the help of you people in the media to show the support that Aafia shares amongst the people. Go ask the people on the streets. Ask anybody randomly, pick anybody, you know.
Well, I'll
You
prove
need to
that.
show that.
We were at the airport and we asked the young man who was carrying our bags, did he know Aafia? Of course he knew Aafia. And he was very supportive. He was knowledgeable about the subject. And so she's quite right. The media is what creates the climate of information and knowledge in the hearts and minds of the people. And you're doing that now. You've done it in the past.
We got the 2 children back. If it wasn't for you guys, they would still be locked up in jail.
And so we're grateful to what the attention you're bringing to this subject. Very grateful.
And I got a question. What is the legal option for her? Is it possible?
The legal option? You got no legal options.
No, there's, he says yes.
We'll let an attorney answer that, but I'll give you the layperson, the politician answer.
For the legal answer, I mean, you know, first of all, why is nobody asking, you know, was there a legal way for her to be rendered, kidnapped, taken from Afghanistan without an extradition treaty to the United States? The entire premise of what they've done in Aafia's case has been illegal from the beginning. So to me, to my mind, now all of a sudden saying, oh, you know, people want to make excuses, there's no legal way to bring her back. Yes, that's because there was no legal way to send her there in the first place. So I take issue number 1 with the idea that there needs to be a quote-unquote legal procedure. But even that being said, there are many, many options on the table. There are tons of options, but the Pakistani government has not identified a single option, not one, that it supports. You ask the Pakistani leadership, which way do you want to bring Aafia home? Not do you want to bring Aafia home? Yes, we'd like to bring Aafia home, but we sit on our hands and just hope. That's not the answer. There are legal options. There's a prisoner transfer treaty that could be signed There's prisoner exchanges. The United States asks for things from Pakistan every day. They're dependent on Pakistan's cooperation. It is absolutely 100% legally possible, and aside from the legal issue, it needs to be done to rectify the first illegality and the first injustice that happened in the first place.
It's a question of will. If there was an effort made by Pakistan, we could have Aafia back in Karachi within 2 days.
But suppose they don't, then?
Well, no. So that's the whole dynamic of getting support from the people to pressure the politicians to act with some moral courage. That's really what's involved, is a lack of moral courage on the leadership, part of the leadership of Pakistan, and of course the total corrupt judicial system that she was subjected to in the United States. It's a matter of will. And the legalities aside, this is just a question of a leader in the United States saying she's going home, and a leader in Pakistan says we want her home now, or our relationship is going to suffer as a result of that. America needs to know that. What America doesn't know is, I don't think, and of course Ramsey Clark and myself and others will have the opportunity through the media to acquaint the American media as to how significant this is to the people of Pakistan. Forget the leaders. The leaders are moved by where they think the people are going. And what this community of the Fourth Estate, you, the media, are doing is to help meld the community attitude of the people of Pakistan and worldwide, I might say.
What is the sentiments of American people on Aafia case?
Unknown. I mean, they're not even aware of it. They're not even aware of it. That's the tragedy. But then again, look at Bradley Manning. Here's a young man that is put in jail without charges for 3 years, and now is being prosecuted for what? For revealing the malfeasance of government officials. And so rather than punish the government officials, we punish the person who acquainted the American people with the malfeasance. These injustices are worldwide. Keep in mind, somebody in Pakistan was complicit in her kidnapping by the Americans. And it's been sustained benignly. Oh, they'll make statements here, but they don't do anything to confront the United States with the injustice. And that's what we hope to be able to force.
I think I've taken a lot of your time. You've been waiting. आप लोग सब देर से बैठे हैं, इंतजार भी कर रहे हैं. सेंटर माइक्रोवेल 17 घंटे की फ्लाइट करके आए हैं. I think we'll call it a day. Thank you all so much. आप लोगों ने खाना खाया अच्छी तरह से?
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you very, very much.
और
Appreciate it.
really आप सबको मैं शुक्रिया. कितना भी शुक्रिया.
Thank you.
Should never see it.